Hey, I just got back from lunch. Did you finish that report yet?
Well, not exactly. Still working on it. I'm not finished just yet. I got a little sidetracked, but I will get them to you first thing this afternoon.
It is first thing this afternoon.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but I mean, I am working on
But
it. I'll have.
what do you mean that the report isn't finished yet?
I'm still in the process of working on it. I've just been a little distracted.
Distracted. Our meeting starts in an hour.
I can have it.
No. What were you doing? Were you listening to another hunting podcast again? I swear, I give the staff in this office the freedom to do whatever they want to do as long as they meet a deadline. That is the first bullet underneath your job description. Pays attention to detail and deadlines. And deadlines. With the emphasis of FO. Dude, are you even listening to me right now?
Welcome to episode 144 of the Whitetail Distraction Podcast. My name's Austin, and joining me on my porch, Chuck. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
I'm doing great. I got to go fishing yesterday.
I went fishing yesterday, too.
Did you catch anything? Your daughter out. I saw your daughter out fish you.
Yeah, I had a 3-year-old out fish me. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's not surprising, bud.
Yeah, it was real good.
What'd she catch it on, by the way?
The Barbie pole.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
The old Barbie rod, man. Tore it up. First cast. Caught like a 17-inch bass, which was tremendous. I didn't bring a bump board or anything. I mean, she caught on a live bait too, but
yeah,
it still would have been hilarious too. Like, I would have just signed her up right there, threw her in the competition, which would have been hilarious. But
oh, that's great,
fun.
Yeah,
Peyton caught a bunch of bluegill. She didn't catch any bass, but
yeah, first time out fishing with the girls.
Yeah. It was a good experience too.
They had fun. Where'd you take them?
Just out of Westminster.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to another spot that I wanted to go to, and dude, the game commission, like, let it go. The pond is absolutely full of muck, and the entire pond, like the surrounding area, I mean, the grass might have been 3.5 feet tall.
No way.
It was crazy. It's usually mowed, perfectly manicured. I literally went there because, like, I got Brooke into fishing by taking her there because it's so nice. It's real, not real steep banks or anything like that. It was awful.
Huh.
I was like in utter disbelief.
Crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
I don't know. I'm going to call him a bitch.
There you go. Perfect.
We'll see what happens.
Let's put our tax-paying dollars, our license dollars to work.
Yeah.
How about that? What a shame. So let's get through some business here because we got some guys here on the porch with us waiting to be introduced. But before we do that, we got to take care of a little bit of homestead business. And,
take care of the people that take care of us.
Oh, man. How cliche.
I know, right?
First and foremost, Scree Gear. ScreeGear.com. They just ran through some Memorial Day sales that were pretty big. They got some deal of the week out per usual.
Yep.
They just moved offices, so they're going through some stuff right now. But
leaving Hurricane.
Yeah, they are very busy, very hectic. But I will tell you that I'm loving their lightweight stuff right now, especially merino wool.
Running the 150 merino is just absolutely awesome, man. I love that.
I'm still running their turkey stuff even while I'm fishing because I'm busting through some stuff and I got it, permethrin, and I don't want to go through tick country to get some of these ponds.
I can't blame you, man.
With just shorts on and Crocs, it's just not worth it anymore.
I get it.
So that's where Scree's helping me out.
Yeah. Well, if you guys never heard of Scree, go check them out. If it's your first time purchase, use code WDP20 for 20% off. And VIP Archery.
Beautiful thing. I'm a little sad we didn't get to use our gobbler guillotines this year.
I am too.
On a turkey head, but that's all right because deer season's around the corner.
Yep.
And we will be putting some combat veterans to work, I hope.
Oh, dude. I can't wait. I got a quiver full of them. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, yeah. I was just looking at mine today. Literally filling the quiver with them today.
That's awesome, man. I got to take the gobbler guillotine off, get rid of that whole setup. I got to actually set my bow back up for whitetails now in 3D season, so it's going to be pretty fun here coming up. You're shooting tack this weekend, which is going to be awesome. And then,
sure am. I haven't shot my bow yet. It's actually at the shop right now, so, I'm ready.
Yeah. It's good.
Should be fun.
Yeah. Throw another one in there for ANF Custom Calls. Turkey season's, kind of rolling to an end here. It's definitely over in PA. I don't know if anybody else is still open. Maybe Michigan?
Michigan and Maine are still open here
open.
Into June. There may be like a Vermont or Massachusetts or something like that over that way as well in the Northeast that is still open. But pretty much everything coming to an end. It's a very, very sad time of year for turkey season to watch it go. But, it's just turn the page. Deer season's coming. Time to kind of flip that switch and get back into the groove. And speaking of, I think we have the right people here to kind of kick that off, don't you think?
Absolutely, man. we have the boys from Suburban Whitetails. What's going on, guys? Luke and Mike, what's going on?
How are you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Thanks for making the drive up here.
No, thanks for having us.
Yeah, you guys didn't get to experience the rack shack, but the porch is pretty nice. We got the fan going.
It's a nice night out tonight. I figure a porch pod would be solid.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, good night out.
What do you guys think? First podcast, I'm assuming?
Yeah, this is my first podcast. Yeah,
me as well.
It's pretty cool.
Yep.
Very cool. Very cool.
Good.
Well, before we jump into anything crazy, why don't we get a little bit of introduction from you guys? Give us, who you are, where you're from, what you do for a living, all that fun stuff.
Sure. Yeah, I'll go first.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Luke Leonard from the North Hills of Pittsburgh here. I'm in sales. I work for a company over in Carnegie there. We're a rigging company, manufacture, obviously rigging, overhead cranes, even do some stuff for NASCAR, which is pretty cool. NASCAR, Formula One, bass boats, stuff like that. So sell to a lot of steel mills, construction companies, gas and oil industry. It's pretty hectic right now.
Very cool.
I could imagine. They ever hook you up, NASCAR, with some like race tickets or something?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, that's badass.
That's solid.
Yeah.
That is like the perks of being in sales, I feel like.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And the hard part is trying to find time to go. So
sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense. What about you, Mike?
Mike Kleinbell. I am in fire suppression sales. I'm an operations manager at Ferguson Fire. And we sell all kinds of fire suppression systems, mostly commercial systems. So we fabricate all the pipe, put all the outlets on it, sell all the pieces and parts. Yeah.
Another good business to be in. Everybody needs fire suppression stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, never a lack of that.
It's a trade that's not often thought about.
I feel you.
Yeah. That's one I actually used to work as a controller for, was a local fire suppression company here in out of Newcastle. So yeah.
That would be them.
I didn't want to say the name, just, but yeah, absolutely. I was their controller for a short period of time.
Oh, nice.
Yep. It's a small world, huh?
Yeah, it sure is.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know the business a little bit, just enough to be dangerous.
Yeah,
but I always thought that was kind of a cool world, and as full circle, some of the same clients that we worked with then, we kind of work with now in my landscaping part of it. So it's kind of neat to cross.
Yeah. I've been there for 18 years now.
Wow.
So I know the ins and
They
outs
must be
of it
treating
pretty
you
good.
all right then.
Yeah. I guess I can't complain.
You keep showing up. So.
They keep paying us. We keep showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, this is going to be a fun one for me, because when Austin kind of reached out, he said he had run into
Mike.
You ran into Mike. Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I think you were building a shed.
Yeah.
Or putting a roof on a shed or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I built my shed back there.
There you go.
Yeah, that's when I ran into you.
He might have been putting a sprinkler system in too.
He might have been putting a
You never
sprinkler
know.
system in. I don't know. Did you sell him any chains for it?
No, not yet.
It's just kind of neat, and he was kind of explaining to me a little bit what you guys did, and it was a 30,000 foot view. But I'm really excited because I have probably a ton of questions. I really don't fully grasp it yet, and I hope after this, not only I but the listeners will kind of figure out and kind of understand what you guys do. So
Sure.
Suburban Whitetail. I mean, that kind of name more or less hints at what it is. But if you guys don't mind, one of you jumping into kind of where that, kicked off back in the early ages, maybe what the thought was behind it and the process of kind of building that up.
Well, I can tell you, we didn't really have a process or a mindset to do anything. Just kind of fell into it,
All right.
so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
How we got, and Mike, please jump in, if I'm forgetting anything, but, we started, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, as a member of the organization. And it was named something.
North Side Archery.
Something.
Something.
And there was 2 gentlemen who ran it then. And we got in, and we had a piece of property in Franklin Park Borough. It was 80 acres. It was steep.
Yeah.
They put the 2 young guys there to go up and down the hills and stuff like that. It was a giant valley. And we actually made a mistake our first year when we were hunting it. We shot 2 doe on opening day.
We doubled up. That was we learned real quick on that property.
We're
That was a
we'll
mistake.
never shoot 2 deer in one day on that property ever again.
Man.
We were just beat, but No, we hunted that all fall. We had some good success there. And unfortunately, after the season was over, we all got an email and said, the program was discontinued for unknown reasons. And we said, well, that kind of stinks. So, just talking back and forth with Mike, I said, how hard could it be? Let's pick it back up. So
The answer to that, it's pretty hard.
it's pretty hard. Yeah.
Harder than one would think.
Yeah. It's pretty hard.
Luke, let me stop you for a moment,
Sure.
though, because I wonder, how did you guys find out about it initially to get that 80-acre property?
What it was, I had a guy that I know. He was signing up to be a member to the program as well. He did not make it into the program for unknown reasons that I know of. But so the two gentlemen who ran it before, they went to the township and said, "Hey, we'd like to put a program together and hunt your parks and your." I believe there's one golf course there.
Yeah.
That the borough owned. So the township agreed to it with them. They ran it for 4 or 5 years before us.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's how that all came about.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. So kind of skipping forward a little bit, but after the program was dissolved, we went to the township and we said, could we take over? They said, absolutely. So again, we said, well, how hard could it be? And that was we started probably in May of, I don't 2018.
Yeah.
That May is when COVID hit really hard. That was the very beginning of it. So then, obviously we had to start the company, get insurance. We had to go to township meetings, and get, members back together and put them all on properties. And the hard part was going through the LLC part of it, because at that point, Harrisburg was shut down, for many months.
Yeah.
So we're sweating bullets. The season's getting close and we're not sure how we're going to put all this together. But even at the same time, Ross Township, a neighboring township, they wanted to start a program as well.
No, we saw them on the news talking about their deer problem.
Wasn't like Ross Park or North Lake or North Park.
No,
Ross Township.
Ross Township.
Yeah. Okay,
They were on the news talking about their deer problem and how it's destroying everything. And Luke said to me, he said, why don't we email them and see what if we can get them on board too? And I'm like, all right. I mean, we don't even have our LLC set up yet, but let's swing for the fence.
Foot in the door, man.
Yeah.
How hard could it be, right? How hard could it be? So,
Yeah.
and actually, the day we reached out to them, they were having a very large town hall meeting about it, and it was standing room only. And the neighbors were going crazy about it. We need to get rid of some of these deer. We need to get rid of some of these deer. So it was all kind of perfect timing. So
It's like best case scenario.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So it was kind of perfect timing. So now we got 2 townships, no company, no insurance, because we're waiting on Harrisburg, and we're sweating bullets here again. But we finally got everything put together, and I mean, we were putting guys, a week before the season
on properties.
Yeah, it was mayhem.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, we were even putting them on afterwards as people were signing up and stuff like that. So finally, everything settles down. The season, goes through without a hitch, and McCandless Township calls us up the following year. They want to set up a program. We're like, it's going to be hard, And so spent many meetings with them. Took about a year and a half to get them.
The first time they reached out to us to the time we actually got everything set up here, you're probably looking at a year and a half.
Yeah.
Because they reached us out in the spring and we're like, nothing's going to happen this fall. Or maybe it was late summer. We're like, we can't make anything happen this fall. And we're like, well, we have to get everything approved anyways through meetings and, they have their process that they have to go through. So we'll say, well, we'll shoot for next year. And they came through. So
is it kind of received pretty well by like the general public and stuff too? Or is it more so like wishy-washy?
No, absolutely. McCandless, they actually have the residents could go online and vote, if they didn't want to do anything, and basically put a lot of work into it, and the residents wouldn't, support it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually the residents, it was 80% of the residents, wanted it.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's huge.
Best case scenario again. My goodness.
Yeah. No, I would say our residents are the best. They certainly support, archery hunting. I think the big problem is a lot of them just don't have the property to do it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just a quick note there is like, I don't think a lot of the residents don't have the knowledge of what archery hunting is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Makes
think
total
it's in educating the general public about archery hunting is a big portion of what we do.
Yeah.
Making, homeowners understand, like, because we'll have people reach out to us and they're like, yeah, come hunt my property. And I go to look at their property and they got a 1/4 acre.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, I need your property and 20 others in the area. You know what I mean? Like,
Literally.
I mean, we are on smaller properties, but we try and keep it like 2 to 3 acres. We have groups of people get together, like a whole neighborhood will get together and sign up. And then we can build a property big enough to put a person on.
Definitely.
Because the deer, they're smart.
Oh yeah.
They definitely are.
They're smart. They're
I
tucking
know
into
it.
those houses as close as they can. I mean, when me and Luke were on our 80 acres, the best hunting was right on the edge of the property near the homes.
100%.
They know they're safe there. They're close to their food and they can find cover when they need it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So these deer are tucking up close to these properties. So, they're getting pushed, they come off the larger tracts of land and then they're in these people's yards. So our challenge is always putting enough properties together to make something that's huntable.
Yeah.
Now, are you guys ever targeting like these HOAs that own, the bigger tracts? Because I see that a lot around where I work and stuff. And, you have your HOA, which 90% of them, it seems like they're all on a ridge top. You got all the houses around, and then you have these steep ravines in the bottom where they own a 20, 30 acre piece that's just not used.
Yes, to answer your question.
Mhm.
HOAs they're difficult to obtain. Reason being is their board changes so often. And then two, the few HOAs that we do have permission to be on, it takes 1 or 2 residents in that HOA to turn it the opposite way.
100%.
So the HOAs, they're nice when you can obtain them, but they're almost more work than.
Yeah. It just seems like in the area that I'm familiar with kind of what you're talking about, that seems to be like who owns the most property a lot of times.
They
around
do.
there.
They do, yeah.
They do.
Yeah. They own most of it. And it's like you said, it's a shame because you have 20 to 30 residents in that little HOA and it only takes 1 or 2 to be a loud boistering voice against it. And then you're kind of out. So.
Then you're out. Yeah. We actually had one. We have it again. We had it the first year.
Board turnover, lost it.
And then they noticed all the deer start coming back again.
But they did.
So then we have it again. Well, we got it last year and then we'll have it again this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
They certainly see the difference when we're there, and I try to voice to these people too. Sometimes a lot of it's, maybe our hunters aren't shooting a lot, but just hunting pressure alone
forces the deer off the property.
Yeah.
Definitely.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
that's another
because
thing.
the next HOA over that doesn't have hunters on it, they're just going to go over there and eat on their shrubs.
Absolutely.
And, abuse their plants and everything else.
Correct.
Yep. Yeah, I see it all the time. It's crazy. But I actually was doing some hunting down there. Just I went door to door, and like you guys are saying, just to obtain like an acre and a half, I had to get 5 people's permission.
Oh yeah.
Because you have to access it from somewhere too.
Right.
And typically I had to get like 2 people's permission just for the access part of it. Not even where I was going to hunt. Just to walk through. And it's like, they were so confused that I was even asking.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're talking a very, very small wood lot in these backyards. And I'm like, well, look, I know you and I did my research. I'm like, I'm watching. I'm not in a creepy way, guys, but I'm watching, I drive by there every day. I see their routine. I see them out in the backyard with a dog. I'm like, I know you have a dog. I totally understand. I had a paper and sign contract. Here's a waiver of all insurance and everything like that, liability waiver. And I had to walk down a fence line, cut through their backyard, and then go up into the woodlot behind them. And then I crossed it just in that 4 different boundaries. It's like,
Yeah.
That's
And then if
ridiculous.
you shoot a deer and you don't hit it right and it goes off, now you got a whole set of another problem. Another set of problems that you got to deal with.
Probably my biggest fear. And that's I just stopped hunting it because it was kind of a logistical nightmare.
Yeah. And that's kind of where we can help bridge the gap with a lot of these, and we do all the legwork for the hunter, and then we put them on the property, so.
Yeah. Now, what does that legwork look like? I mean, do you guys see it more people coming to you, or are you looking at Onyx per se, just to use a mapping system and targeting bigger tracks and saying, hey, let's see if we can get this one.
Can I back you up a second?
Absolutely.
Okay. So when we're working with a township, we generally get all of their property.
Okay.
Okay.
The township owned
The
property.
township
The entire
owned property.
township
Okay.
Owned. Okay.
Not necessarily all of it. Some
Gotcha.
townships don't want their parks hunted, so we won't hunt. We won't put hunters on their parks. That's fine.
Mhm.
We do hunt parks. Franklin Park, when we had all their parks, and we never had an incident. There's walking trails all through them. Hunters up in trees. People never see
Never
them.
even see them.
They're totally oblivious. So some townships say yes, some townships say no. Then we go on the Onyx. That's our number one tool.
Mhm.
And we'll identify all their vacant properties. So these townships all have pieces of property that are sitting empty. They might be landlocked. They might be on the street, next to the street. And then we'll identify all those and mark those. And then we'll get permission. We'll send those all off to the township, say, these are the properties that we've identified that we want to be able to hunt. And they're useful to us. And then we'll go back through. And then if it's landlocked, then we have to start looking at the logistics of how do we get a hunter into there. So then we'll start knocking on doors to get somebody's permission to park in front of their house and just walk through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not telling them we're going to hunt on your property, and they think just because we're hunting back there that we're going to be hunting on their property. We have to we're just accessing.
We just need access.
We just need access. We're not, but nonetheless, once we have them signed up, then we have to put them on insurance and everything else. So once we have all those locked up, and we place hunters on those. Now the second fold of that is the township we'll go through the township map and we'll look at it and we're like, all right, let's identify all the larger tracts of land on this map in this township. And we'll identify those and we'll target those people. We'll send out mailers. We'll try and make contact however we can. Most of the people with larger tracts of land in those smaller areas don't want it.
100%.
And that's a big struggle.
Yeah.
But then we get residents that reach out to us from once they hear about the program, they'll reach out to us and be like, hey, but then these are all the people with quarter, half, 1 acre. And then we have to start piecing those together.
Get all your neighbors on board and come back to me.
Yeah.
That's
That's the easiest way to do it.
Right.
Yeah. Because we can't keep up with it. It's so many people. I mean, if you have to go to 6-7 different houses and 6-7 different neighborhoods, that's a lot.
Only
of
3 of them are
that's-
home.
Yeah.
You gotta go
yeah.
back 6 times. Yeah.
Correct.
That's,
Oh yeah, that's happened to us a lot.
I bet.
And just as even on a side note, what Mike was talking about, these properties and these townships that have the larger pieces, 99% of the time they already have somebody, a family member hunting on it,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
stuff like that. So it's not that they don't want us; it's just they already, have that locked up
It's
for
just that
themselves.
it's
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Correct.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I often wonder to myself, is this problem central to this area? Or do other states have this problem and aren't dealing with it? Or do I just not know about it? Or what do you guys think about that?
I mean, just based on the pure numbers of hunters that we have we are a small militia basically in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say we are one of the states that have that major issue
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, there are so many people that hunt and on top of that, archery hunting has become hugely popular. I mean, more so probably almost more so than gun hunting now.
Right.
I mean, the numbers are coming way up.
Yeah, you can hunt basically in Allegheny County. I mean, you can hunt half the year almost.
Right. Well, not only that too, but Allegheny County, I mean, as we know, there's no rifle hunting in Allegheny County.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
that archery is a little bit more appealing there. But I would say also the timing you guys hit pretty well, because if you think about it, with COVID, the one good thing that came out of COVID was a lot of people realized they had to be a little bit more self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there were a lot more open-minded people that turned towards, well, maybe this organic protein through hunting isn't all that bad.
Yeah.
And you have the quote unquote COVID hunters that started during that time frame too. So I feel like that was on your side probably all at the same time when trying to get permission and get land and whatnot. But, one other thing too, and I know I'm jumping all around, but going back to the original topic, these bigger tracks, one thing I found was one guy specifically, he had been burned hard by another hunter in the past. And then he was just like, I don't want anybody on here.
Yeah.
I talked to that guy for an hour. He kept me at his house just BSing about everything. And he told me about every wrongdoing that someone else did to him, people sneaking on his land. And he owned 30 acres. But 30 acres in that part of town was...
Is a
that's-
pile.
I mean, you're talking...
That's a pile.
Yeah,
And when I
that's
say-
dynamite
Dude,
there.
when I say 30 acres, I'm talking the best looking 30 acres you could ever imagine. So I could see where where the appeal was, but it was just a shame that, because...
And there's a lot of that happens.
Mhm.
And again, I know we're jumping around, but honestly, our biggest fight all the time is other hunters.
Yeah.
They misconstrued what we're doing. We're more, they look at us as, we're coming in, we're taking the land, no more hunting, this, that, and the other thing. Where, the flip side of that is join.
Mm-hmm.
You're more welcome to join, just like the next guy. But they've been hunting this piece of property, township property, and they pay taxes to it, and this and that, and the whole other gamut of things that you're going to get from them. And it is owned by the public. It's a public entity, but the township still has the right to govern it any which way they want. It's no different than state land or Pennsylvania game law, land, so they can shut it down, open it up, do whatever they want. But, the nastier ones are other hunters, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
You guys have been doing this long enough. Have you lost a lot to land development as well and just bringing in new? Because I know a lot of new housing developments and stuff popping up. Have you lost land that way? I mean, I have a buddy personally that went through this. He had permission to hunt like 20 acres down there for like the last 6 or 7 years. And then last year he completely lost it because they just came in, bulldozed the whole place, and they're building houses.
Yeah. I don't think we see it too much because it's township owned property.
Okay.
And
it's not privately owned.
It's
as
not
much.
privately owned.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, because anybody with that kind of size of land generally already has, like we talked about earlier, somebody already hunting on it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now, you mentioned before, so anybody can kind of sign up, and I know there's kind of a process to it. I feel like you guys have a proficiency test, and there's sets of rules, and I believe a contract and whatnot. What goes into it? Say somebody hears this and they want to sign up for it. What's kind of the process for just the every average Joe?
So they need to email us, suburbanwhitetailpa@gmail.com, and we will respond to them. We'll send them an application along with a copy of our bylaws, and it just tells them all of our, for lack of a better term, rules that they need to follow while they're hunting on our property, one of our property that we put people. And then they have to, once they send that back and we feel all the criteria has been met and we have an opening, we'll bring people in for proficiency shooting tests. And it's not hard. We just want to make sure that people can hit the vital zone at 20 yards.
You're not getting a jabroni in here. And
Right, yeah.
Absolutely.
And we have some requirements, like we require that you have killed at least 3 big game animals.
Mm-hmm.
That way we know you have some experience doing it, and you're not just out there flinging arrows. No hunting violations. We try and steer clear of that because we don't,
We do background checks, and the reason why we do that is just because we are hunting on parks and, private areas. So obviously we want to make sure. And that's not to say if you had an orange violation, 20 years ago, we're going to tell you no. But,
Right.
we're looking for more if you're smuggling, rhino horns across the border. Yeah, stuff like that. So
I don't blame you. I mean, they're in your program. You got to know who you're dealing with.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
I would definitely be running background investigations on all these people for sure. Yeah.
And like I said, when you're on parks, you want to make sure you have the right people there and stuff like that. So
I think another one of your stipulations too, you have to be elevated, right?
Yeah, we want everybody to be at shooting downwards.
Definitely.
It's just makes it a little bit better. We are using archery equipment. Doesn't go that far, but still, we want the arrow to stick in the ground.
I mean, we're operating in some tight spaces. If you get a trajectory going outward, it's probably not
A
good.
deflection.
Yeah,
Something.
it goes
that
through
could
somebody's
get ugly.
pool.
Yeah.
I don't need to
That's
deal
not
with
good.
that headache.
Absolutely.
Well, in that sense too, then is it all archery equipment, crossbow, bow? Does it matter to you guys?
No.
As long as they follow the PA game laws as far as
Okay.
archery equipment, absolutely.
In the county and everything like that, right?
We're certainly not above PA law whatsoever. So we, all of our members still have to follow that.
First.
Yeah, for sure.
And then ours is above and beyond what the state implements. So we'll require them to mark on their fletchings, their specific number. That way I've gotten phone calls before from residents. Hey, your deer's up here dying in my yard. is there an arrow in it? They're like, yeah. And you go up there and then you look at the arrow, it doesn't have the digits on it. I'm like,
Nothing on it.
that's not from us. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It helps us keep track of things. Or someone says, hey, there's, an arrow flew through my window. Well, does it have the numbers on it? If it doesn't, then we know it's not ours. You know?
Okay. Okay.
So,
Very
Keep people
smart.
accountable. I actually
Right.
like that a lot. Yeah.
It's very
yeah.
intelligent.
And a lot of people, I don't know. It's just a 4-digit number. It's pretty basic. It just helps us keep track of everything.
For sure.
Yeah, one of the misconceptions, as far as, when we come into a township is that Suburban Whitetail Management are the only people hunting in the whole entire
Right.
township, so first time something happens, they're calling and coming after us. And usually, we'll give them a minute, let them, scream their heads off, and then, we'll ask them their name. We'll start there and then see what the situation is. And then, I always ask, what's your address? So look up their address. Most of the times we don't even have a hunter close. So,
Yeah, you're not even anywhere
yeah.
near.
So they, then they're like, oh, wait a minute. Well, there's other people that do hunt these townships. So it's
Yeah.
just not us.
Yeah.
So,
People with private
We-
land and everything
Correct.
else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talking about that, I had a guy call me screaming and yelling about we screwed steps into his tree, his 100-year oak tree, and we did this and that to it. And our program wasn't even off the ground yet. I'm like, he just heard about us in the news, and I'm like,
yeah.
we don't even put a hunter on the ground yet, sir. I don't know. Someone's hunting your property, but it's not us. You know what I
Definitely.
mean? I was just like, he was irate.
Yeah, I had a guy last year. It was a new property that we got, and the neighbor was a hunter as well. And he called me up, and he was very discouraged that we were going to place a hunter on the neighboring property because he saw a few nice bucks coming through, and he's a trophy hunter. He admitted he was a trophy hunter. He don't shoot does or nothing small. So he was going to be very upset if our hunter shot that deer. And I said, well, I can't control what my hunters, shoot. I said, what if it runs over the hill and gets hit by the car? Are you going to be mad at that motorist for hitting your deer? And, he didn't get it. He just didn't want nobody there. And, that was his deer, and nobody was going to take it from him. It's like, doesn't work like that. So I'm sorry. But, yeah, we get a lot of interesting phone calls and people. So
All I can hear in my head right now when you were saying that guy like being mad about somebody killing him is like that old man from that movie Holes.
mm-hmm.
Well, that's too damn bad.
yeah, he was livid that day, and I was
Man.
Oh man.
and I even told him, I said, well, the reason why we're in the township is because you're not shooting any does.
There you go.
Yeah.
Shoot some does, buddy. Your neighbor won't be calling and complaining. So,
That's it.
yeah, and I mean that's a big thing too. We require all of our members to shoot a doe first.
Yeah.
And then they have to donate their first deer to Hunter Sharing the Harvest, and then they have to donate every third deer after that. Most of our hunters donate all of them. They'll keep maybe one or two for themselves and donate the rest. So
That's awesome.
So after we get them a proficiency test done and we talk to them, let them know the program, ask them if they have any questions, we do have a charge so it's $150. They pay us that. That covers all our running costs.
Insurance, things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't
Insurance is a
imagine.
huge cost for us. You know what I mean? So cover all our costs and stuff like that. We give them parking pass. So something they display on their dash. So we're not wasting the police's time. We submit a list of license plates to the township, and they give it to their police department in case someone says, hey, so-and-so's parked here. We don't know whose car this is. Please pull up. They know the license plate. They can see the placard that's on their dash. They can go about their day. We're not wasting the township's time.
Yeah.
Taxpayer dollars. Police have better things to do than deal with that.
Mhm.
You know
For
what I mean?
sure. For
Yeah,
sure.
they got called on me once.
Uh,
I came back to a note on my windshield with the little write up. Please call the township police. Okay,
Yeah.
I called them. We were good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most, of,
It
the
was
time, most
just-
of the time you are.
All it was one of the neighbors on the opposite side of the road had seen me get out of my car or truck, and I try to be so sneaky when I was down
Yeah.
there too, because I don't want the attention.
Right.
Honestly, I didn't want the attention, so I would wait till there are no cars coming. But it's a busy road, and I'd jump out and I'd run across the road and try to hide in the tree line, But somebody saw me the one day and called the cops. Thought I was hunting. It was the funniest thing. It's a strip probably 20 yards wide that just wraps a horseshoe around these houses, and it's all brush, like thick brush. You couldn't even walk through.
Yeah.
They thought I was hunting back there. I'm like, come on, man.
yeah,
So I had to talk to the officer and tell him exactly where I was at, and I had permission from these people, and he was really cool to his.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
to his,
And we deal with all the township police. We deal with the game commission a lot. They are our friends. They help us out and we help them out. When we do come across a situation, I mean, they take care of it. Very, very quickly.
They're very persuasive too. Like if they have ways of persuading people to let our hunters onto their property to recover deer, and they're really good about it. Like they'll show up and be like, "Yeah, can't move that deer that's laying dead in your yard. It's going to sit there and rot." And then the person starts thinking about, they're like, maybe I will let them come back. You know what I mean?
I don't want to deal with that.
If I come back in a day or two and that deer's moved, I'm finding you for it. Yeah. So people, I mean, they're good. They know what they're doing.
Awesome.
That's good.
And I often feel that they get a bad rap, and maybe that's from years past. But I mean, they're here for us. They help everybody out.
Definitely.
They're just trying to do their job.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure everybody's safe, everybody's following the rules. And I mean, as long as they're operating within inside the law,
you have nothing to worry about.
right?
Yeah.
They're great.
Yeah.
They're
I feel like I've had a lot of good interactions, especially the past couple of years with game commission officers. I mean, like you said, they're out there doing their job.
Yeah.
They're not trying to they're like get in your way and do this, but you know what? They got to check your license. They got to make sure you don't have 16 deer in the back of your truck or whatever
yeah.
else.
And like, if you think about it, like if them stopping you for the 5 to 10 minutes it takes to do that prevents people from going out there without licenses, which funds everything that we do here, right? And prevents people from going out and poaching the deer. You know what I mean? Like, I just read in the news today did you guys read that article about those teenagers and some 20-year-old that shot like 200 deer?
Oh, no.
No?
Yeah. Just for fun.
Oh, come on.
Yeah,
man.
they would shoot them in fields, just leave them laying. I'm happy they found them.
Happy they caught him for sure.
But I mean, it prevents things like that, which takes away from the enjoyment and the sport of it. You know what I mean? Like what we do.
Definitely.
So I don't understand why people would get upset with them.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, and not only that too, but even your program, like you said, you're donating meat. So you're helping, you're actually feeding
absolutely.
people as well.
Yeah.
So
Hit 'em
that's
with
huge.
that number, Luke.
4,600 meals last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah. So our guys donate a lot, and we've actually even had residents come out and email us, off to the side, and I'll send an email blast out to our hunters saying, hey, we have a resident that's in need of some meat. And it's amazing. I think the one time I had, I don't know how many of our hunters show up, and I took over maybe 100 pounds of meat to this woman.
That's fantastic.
Filled her freezer up.
Yeah.
We even had some guy. It was during the summertime, and I had a bunch of guys bring over some of their fresh vegetables from their garden and stuff. So the lady certainly did need it, and she was very thankful for it.
That's awesome. Good people.
Dang.
Yeah.
Good people.
So I guess the next step of that is once you have somebody through the program, they're paid, how the heck do they figure out, or how the heck do you figure out where do they hunt?
That was my next question.
Yeah,
Good on you.
I mean, where does that come from?
Well, we have a list of properties that we know we're allowed to hunt and which spots we need to fill, and it's random.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're not, this property's great, let's put so and so on. It's really, really random. We'll just be like, okay, this guy's up next, this property's open, put him on it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a member, and if you've been a member year over year, does that membership continue throughout each year, or do you have to reapply each year for your membership?
No, it's continuous.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
Let me interject that.
Yeah, go ahead.
We
that
do
makes
have
sense.
turnover because we get guys that don't hunt. They'll say they're going to hunt. They pay their dues. And then they just don't show up.
They're not killing deer. They're not.
It's
doing
not
what
even
they're
about killing deer. They're not putting time in.
Yeah.
right.
You can't kill deer if you're not putting time in.
That's
You
a
know what I
property
mean?
somebody else could be.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a lot of people ask us, is there, you guys have like a minimum that you want us to shoot, or how many hours we need to hunt? We're like, no. If you're in there and you're, everybody's got family, everybody's got job. If you're in there and periodically and you're killing deer, if you shoot 3 deer and it only takes you 2 hours, great. You know what I mean? But we have guys that hunt 200 hours and only shoot 1 deer. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I see they're putting the time in. You know what I mean? But when you're not doing anything, we can't carry you.
Definitely.
Well, and at that point, they're not really fulfilling what the whole point of the
Exactly.
whole mission
Yeah.
is with what you guys are doing.
And we require all of our hunters to fill out a log. So
Okay.
time they get to the property, what time they left the property, how many deer they saw, how many buck, how many were doe, how many deer they shot. And then on the far right column, there's a little spot for them to put in if they donated a deer, the number. So we can keep track of how many.
Definitely.
Yeah. But
Wow.
basically, we use those numbers to figure out how many deer they're seeing per hour. And that's what we report to the township. So as that deer seen per hour comes down, we know the program is being effective. Because the only way we know the program is being effective is with eyes in the woods, right?
Mhm. Sure.
So there are data that we need to extract from there, and they're getting that for us, so that we can report to the township. In like Franklin Park, we saw the numbers come way down to the point where there are some properties where they're only seeing deer, 1 or 2 deer every other outing. You know what I mean? So the numbers were down. We're like, and then we're not going to overhunt it. So we'll pull people off of that property. Like we'll let it rest for, a year or so and then put them back on there. But in the newer townships that had, because in Franklin Park, that program had been running for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Right.
So it takes a long time to reduce those numbers.
Definitely.
You guys know.
Oh, yeah.
Every 1, next year is 2. Those 2 have 4, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just it's exponential. So
Definitely.
trying to catch up to it, and especially like Ross Township and McCandless Township, the problem is so out of hand that catching up to it now, it's an uphill battle, and we got to stay on top of it and just keep going and going and going. And it's never ending.
Definitely.
So at this point, you guys would say that you have plenty of property that needs fulfilled, or how are you sitting right now? Or are you at a pretty comfortable number with members compared to land?
Yeah, I don't think I would ever say that we have enough properties. We could always take more. And then as far as hunter numbers, we get hunters. We have a waiting list. Getting hunters is not the
Generally
hard part.
an issue, yeah.
As you know, so many hunters are in Pennsylvania. Yeah, we can get hunters, but finding the properties, that seems to be the hard part.
Okay. What was there some kind of formula or something you guys are looking at? Maybe so many acres per hunter, or is there people that do like group applications? Say me and Austin want to hunt together on a property. Can we put in together for the same property and then just kind of alternate between us on one property? Yeah.
So we have 4 or 5 larger tracts of land. And when we get a group of buddies that want to hunt together, it always works best to put because when you get an 80-acre piece of property, you don't want to put one guy on it. It's not going to be utilized properly. Right. So that's when we like to get those groups of guys together and, put buddies on there so they can communicate. So they're not stepping on each other's toes going in and out of there.
Sure.
And everybody utilizes it properly.
And we kind of look at it too as, one guy per 10 acres. That excludes ball field and stuff like that, but usually it works out to about one guy per 10 acres. Now, I'm not saying that each guy has to stick to their 10 acres, they can utilize the whole property.
Okay.
Yeah. Our members can use trail cameras. Once they're signed up and they paid their dues and they've gone through all the testing and everything, we turn that property over to them. They can scout it. They can do whatever they want on it. So, it's a piece of public property. So anybody can walk through these basically. So they run trail cameras and everything else on them, get all their pre-scouting done, and then they can hit them hard come season.
Kind of do your normal process, but this is just another property for you to hunt, basically.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that.
Yeah, I say it all the time. I look at it and, it's like going to a Penguin game. You paid for your seat. You'd be pretty upset if you got there and somebody else was in your seat. So, these guys have all paid their dues and worked to get into the program. So they're the only ones allowed to be there, as far as hunting wise. So,
Okay.
It's their own little, paradise, so to speak, as far as the hunting world. And that's why guys are so, and gals, we do have some ladies here, but I think that's what makes it so enjoyable, how many times you've been in the woods and, you got people walking by, other hunters, walking by and stuff like that. So
do you guys have any problem with like hunter harassment or anything like that being in like a suburban setting?
We had one incident.
I'm trying to think of it.
It was in Franklin Park. I think it was 2 years ago. It was an avid dog walker.
Oh.
And they knew where the hunter was, and they'd intentionally just whistle, clap, do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They damaged one of his trail cameras. Anything terrible. We got it.
Still not cool though.
No.
Yeah, regardless.
We tell all of our hunters, if you do encounter it, don't engage.
Yeah, definitely.
Call us, call the police.
Yeah.
Let them handle it. That's the only way it's going to get resolved.
Definitely.
Engaging people just escalates the situation. And then not only are they upset, then you're upset too, and nothing good comes from that situation.
I agree.
As far as it goes with each member and their own permission on these properties, say you had a dad, is he able to take a kid on that property? How does that work out for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. We just started that last year, actually, just to try to get more people involved and get, obviously the parent out there more and more. Because again, we're parents ourselves, so you got baseball and all these extracurricular activities, especially in the fall time. It seems like So yeah, we did open up last year to youth members. So all they really have to do is fill out another permission slip for their child. That way we can put them on the insurance. We don't charge them for that. That's just an added bonus if they want to take, and it doesn't even have to be their own, child. It could be, a niece or nephew or something like that.
Or a mentored youth.
Mentor youth
Yeah.
or whatever it may be. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we also started last year too. Women can hunt for free for their first year. It's just trying to get more women into the sport.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a tough thing to do.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about how many women hunter do you know?
I know a few, but I also worked up in Franklin, so you know,
there's
yeah.
We also do this, and we kind of meet like everybody.
Yeah.
We do know a few.
But in
like,
all reality, of all the people that I know that hunt, and I can count on one hand the women hunters.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah.
shout out to Biddy Boosh.
Yeah. I wasn't even. Yeah, she's definitely one of them.
Yeah,
one
she's
of
a
the
killer.
4 or 5 that I know.
So yeah, we would certainly like to see more women hunters. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, because if you think about it, like, it comes back to family. Like, women are part of the family, kids are part of the family. If we can connect them all, get everybody back out in the woods, engage them, get that next generation coming up to, get outside. You know?
Definitely.
Yeah,
It's hard to get kids to go outside these days when they're always glued to a screen.
I can agree.
I like that a lot.
Totally.
I mean, sometimes it's good when they're glued to a screen, but most of the time, you're like, come on, let's go outside and go do something.
I'm with you, man. I love it.
So more or less, basically, if they're going to be on your property and they're going to be hunting, they have to be enrolled to where they can be covered by the insurance. You don't want someone just randomly grabbing their friend and bringing them out with them hunting.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we do have some older members, and some people have asked, if I shoot a deer, can I have my buddy come and help me? Absolutely, don't care. We've had some hunters say, hey, is it okay if my friend, is in the tree next to me videotaping? That's kind of where we draw the line, because now you're technically hunting.
Mm-hmm.
I know dragging out a deer, you're still technically hunting, but we don't want to see anybody get hurt too, have an accident.
Now you're in a tree.
You're in
another
a tree,
added
you're
factor.
elevated. Yeah, there's a lot
Correct.
more safety
Yeah.
concerns involved.
That makes total sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we try to be as lenient as possibly. We don't want to discourage anybody from joining the program, so we try to make it as easy as possible.
I feel like you're being realistic about it, though, too.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
you guys do have a lot of overhead costs and
Yeah.
everything else, so that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I can agree. Is there anything we're missing here, guys? Is there anything that we kind of glazed over that you guys want to cover with the program and whatnot?
I mean,
I think, just going back to, other hunters, I just say, let's respect each other and, and two, as far as being a hunter myself, let's respect the landowner as well. I know Pennsylvania is steep in tradition of walking wherever you want.
Oh yeah.
But, let's respect landowners. That's what really gives us a bad name when we're just going anywhere.
Definitely.
and I think me and Luke learned that a little while ago when we went out west. And out west, it's so you don't step on somebody else's land if you don't have permission.
Right.
You don't,
know what I mean?
you don't even think about it, here.
But then you come back to Pennsylvania and you think about how many years of people just walking
ain't
wherever.
posted.
It ain't,
Yeah.
you get that
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and then I think to myself, man, if these people went out west, man, they'd get in the ringer.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
it's what gets people in trouble, man.
Yeah.
You know
Having
the
that
saying,
mindset.
You know the saying, if he gobbles 3 times, it's all public, right?
That's a good one. I like that.
And then you have states out there like North Dakota. If it's not posted,
Maine.
Right.
it's free to walk on
Sure.
and hunt. I mean,
Yeah, but
which-
that's stipulated up front and they know that.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
that's kind of, gets me about Pennsylvania hunters is they just take so many liberties and
yes.
they think they're entitled to just go wherever they want. And that's not how it is. That's somebody else's land and you need to respect that. That's,
Yeah.
I
mean, in all fairness, the Game Commission laws didn't, trespassing laws in general, we'll put it there, not really Game Commission, but the trespassing laws in Pennsylvania really kind of built that unfortunate environment.
yeah, it really fostered it there for a long time.
Because there really wasn't anything. It was a slap on the wrist. If your land wasn't posted and I'm on there, the most you can do is ask me to leave. And if I don't leave, then I'm trespassing. But if I leave and I come back, then I'm trespassing. It's like, so what's deterring people from just coming onto your land and, until they get caught?
Yeah.
Well, it's a little bit more strict now.
Now
after
it
they
is,
did,
yeah.
Yeah.
a couple years ago they did the purple paint law and whatnot, and they
Correct.
made the rules a little bit more strict, which is nice.
Is it?
Yeah.
I believe Allegheny County is not included in that, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, the purple paint law, I don't believe it's included. And then there's
I think Philly.
I think Philly as well for
So
whatever
basically
reason.
the special regulation areas.
Yeah.
Essentially.
More or
Yeah, they
less.
don't have to. They don't abide by the purple paint.
It's all over the place around here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's on people's land they don't even own.
Yeah,
They're
that's
just smacking
the other
purple
part.
People just
everywhere.
going out
They
spraying
just
paint
go,
trees.
I want to hunt this spot, and
Everywhere.
they slap purple paint on it. Oh, man.
You don't even know where you're walking then.
But isn't
Yeah.
that the beauty of like technology today with like on
yeah.
X? Like you know who owns what.
Yeah,
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you know you're in the right, then people doing that, it's
definitely.
mitigated.
Yeah,
pretty wild.
we see it all the time. It's just it's what you kind of deal with, but we've grown numb to it as we're making jokes about it, but it is a kind of a real issue
Yeah.
at times.
Well, it's one
especially
of
for
those
what you
issues.
guys do.
Where you're sitting on posted property. Here comes some guy
You're
walking through.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, man, I have permission here. Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking about that, like we require all of our members to at least take a picture of their permission slip and have them at them at all times in case somebody does stop them.
Okay.
When me and Luke were original members, we were stopped by, we were hunting an HOA property, and they were like, one of the people there didn't know that the program was even operating on their on the HOA property. And they're like, "Are you supposed to be?" You're like, "Yeah, here's the permission slip." And they started looking at it and like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to talk to the HOA board. I didn't even know this was happening." Like, "Yeah, we have permission. They gave us, and
It's wild.
yeah, we're allowed to be here."
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's unfortunate too, because in those scenarios, those never turn out good for your favor. It almost seems like those are the kind of things that can flip a property whenever they're blindsided like that. But
yeah,
Correct.
nothing
Yeah.
you guys did wrong.
Right.
It's really on the HOA at that point, or them for not being involved enough in their own HOA to know the rules and regulations, what's going on.
And that's what it normally is the resident isn't involved. Because I know the HOA, they'll send out a newsletter, prior to the season and letting everybody know whether they read that or not. Who knows?
Right.
Most
Yeah.
likely
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
But speaking of HOAs, the difficulty in getting them is a lot of times finding who to talk to get the permission
Yeah.
is so difficult because it's run through a management company.
Mhm.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Oh.
So then you're going through, channels and channels of people to try and find the right person. There was this isn't an HOA, but it's a large conglomerate, UPMC. They have a ton of property.
Yeah.
And I've looked up and down for the right person to talk to there. I have no idea who it is. I don't know
Yeah.
if I'll ever find it.
Maybe they'll hear this.
I highly doubt it.
You never know. We've seen weirder things. So.
Yeah, it's true.
And some of the other things that we're doing, other than that, we've been talking with, it's going to take a long time. And that's even if we do it. But the city of Pittsburgh, we've had talks with those folks as well. Politics goes very slow when it comes to hunting. So
Yeah.
that's probably years and years down the road. The other one we just sat with was Chatham University.
Nice.
Well,
Nice.
hold on. This is a little bit, hit him with a twist on it.
On
Chatham.
it's kind of cool. What they want to do is actually have a course, an archery course. And,
Interesting.
A hunting course. Yeah.
So
Through the university. So Chatham University has a sub campus. It's in Pine Richland. And
okay.
it's all self-sustaining.
Oh.
Yeah. And me and Luke got to go on a tour of it. It's crazy. It's really nice facilities. And
So cool, man.
yeah, right now there's no hunting on the property. And they're like, well, we'd like to teach our students how to hunt. And we're like, we'll come out and talk to you about it and see where you guys want to go with this. And they want to put a program together. Of course, they got to go through all the proper channels to get it set up. You know what I mean? So hopefully we can make that happen for them. But they need to learn how everything from archery all the way through, the game laws, the processing of deer, the, field cleaning the deer. And me and Luke were like, yeah, we'll teach them all that.
So what you're saying is in the next couple of years we can call you like Professor Mike.
yeah. I don't know if they'll give us, something to put on the wall or not, but
I'll call you it anyway.
yeah, that's fine. That's
But when
fine.
we were talking to them, they're like, it's not going to be who you think it's going to be taking these courses. He's like, it's a lot of, college kids that are far out there, hippie kind of style,
Mhm.
and I believe he did he say what I think he said?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he said, I think it's going to be a lot of blue-haired lesbians.
Well,
And I was like,
they might surprise you.
I was like, we'll teach anybody, you know? It doesn't matter to us.
They're the students, surprisingly, are the ones who want to have it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was more the students who brought it up and said that they would like to learn how to archery hunt and stuff like that. My biggest interest would be to see the student's face the first time they harvest a deer.
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
my
man.
God.
There's a lot of emotion that goes on there. So,
Yeah.
Sometimes good, sometimes bad, as we know. So,
Yeah.
And that's like something that we've like talked to with them about, like
Mhm.
in prior up front to them actually harvesting an animal was like, how to deal with those emotions, because we've all done it. You shoot an animal, next thing you know, your hand's just shaking and you can't even, you can't
You
even
remember
control
your
it.
first deer.
Oh, yeah.
I went,
Well,
for lack of a better term, ape shit, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Realistically.
Yeah. And then, how do you process that? And then, still pay respect to the animal
For
and
sure.
Yeah.
clean it. And
not
get
only
everything
that,
out of
but
the
you're also
woods.
elevated, so you got to safely get back to the
The
ground.
ground.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Because that is a tough one. Actually, you know what? That brings up another great question. What about, do you guys have anything in there regarding safety harnesses, anything like that, since you have to be elevated?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, safety is our first priority, obviously. All of our members are required to wear a safety harness, up in the tree there. Knock on wood, we've never had an incident.
That's excellent.
Yeah. Safety obviously is our number one. And that's why we kind of go maybe a little, too much above and beyond, the actual rules and regulations of PA game laws, but we're holding a lot of liability. And obviously we don't want to see anybody get hurt. So
You guys also have a lot to lose.
sure we do.
So, I mean, having those extra stipulations and stuff, I mean,
Yeah.
I think anybody who wants to be in the program and wants to participate and wants to keep it
Mhm.
can understand that and abide by them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And oh, God.
Just on that, we were, I think as a council member, and I think the Game Commission said, you guys don't need to carry extra insurance. If you're on their land, they gave you permission, you're covered under, what's it, Title 64?
I think it's 68.
68? Article 68?
Yeah, I
Like,
think that sounds right.
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, well, yeah, but we still need extra protection. And the townships and residents like to see that too.
Yeah.
It's for their peace of mind,
Definitely.
Yeah, even though that statute, doesn't allow a hunter or vice versa, a landowner from suing each other, ourselves, Suburban Whitetail Management, it covers property damage. I think one of our rebuttals to the game commissioner, the officer there, I said, well, if there's always going to be a lawyer involved.
Mm-hmm.
Whether your law is in place or not, is the state going to step up and provide us with a lawyer?
Yeah, in civil suit, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, no, it just protects you from there's still going to be a lawyer and there's still going to be cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that extra protection, yes, I do. I'm not saying anything bad. That's a great law that they did put in place, but there's a lot more.
Feel a little bit better with special protection.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
And that, I mean, how many years ago was that written when things were so different back then?
Yeah.
to
People
what they
weren't so
are
sue
now?
happy, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
those are
it's just-
definitely cover your ass regulations you have there, and that's
Absolutely. Yeah.
for good reason.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you guys need to up that membership and get in with our guys over at Tree Stand Wingman and
Oh, yeah.
hand one out to every hunter that goes through your membership program. Are you guys familiar with the Tree Stand Wingman?
I don't think. No, I don't think so.
It's the self-suspending.
It's a fall arrest
I
system.
Fall
think
arrest.
I had listened to one of your podcasts,
Yeah, we
and
had
then
them on.
I think I ended up going back and looking that up, and I was like, yeah,
It's pretty legit.
awesome.
yeah,
You guys ever been to the Great American Outdoor Show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember seeing in the archery hall the guy that climbs up the
With the
ladder
tree
stand
jumps off?
And he jumps
Yeah.
off.
He jumps off that tree stand
That's him.
wingman.
That's
Okay.
him.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just suspends you nice and slow.
Yeah.
They're pretty neat.
Pretty wild.
Honestly.
That is
yeah.
Really
cool.
good people, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a good way to get out of your tree stand if you have to go to the bathroom?
Why not?
Maybe not quickly if you got to go real bad.
Yeah, actually, probably would be. If you're I don't know how you get. I mean, unless you're in a ladder stand. If you're in a climber, you're
You're
getting
cut-
back
yeah,
up.
That's hilarious.
But I mean, we let all of our guys dictate what equipment they're going to use.
Yeah.
You know
No,
what I mean?
absolutely.
I mean, as long as it's elevated. So if guys want to run tree saddles, that's fine. You know what I mean? Nothing damages the trees,
Mhm.
obviously, because it's public
No
land.
spurs or anything like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
but yeah, we try and steer guys away from ladder stands just because they're going to be sitting out there all year.
The
and-
Permanence kind of.
part of it.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
then we worry about, kids wandering through the woods, climbing
True.
up them, and
Yeah.
open
Yeah.
ourselves up to liability
That
that,
makes
way.
sense,
But
yeah.
we guys use them,
Yeah.
and hang-ons. They'll use hang-ons, and they'll take the bottom section steps or two. You know what I mean?
That's what I
So-
would prefer, probably. but
yeah. Because, I mean, a hang-on is so versatile
Yeah.
versus a climber. You have to find a perfect tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a situation for everything, but
Yeah.
not having the permanent ladder there makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, our older members, they certainly use the ladder stands.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah,
You might put them on a property that allows it though too.
Correct.
I would
yeah.
think.
Yeah, absolutely. And all of our members too, 30 days before the season, they can put their stands in, and then they have to take them back out 30 days after.
Yeah.
We don't want them in there all year long, just because it's an eyesore to the residents
For
that are
sure.
using it. So, we don't want them trashing the place up. So.
So when we first went into Ross Township, they're like, okay, go ahead and explore the properties. And we're like, listen, you guys got a lot of tree stands on your property. And they're like, well, can you guys take them out? And we're like, yeah, but some of them aren't coming out. They were
Throw it
like,
into the tree.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
And they were surprised at how many people are already hunting their property and they had no idea.
Yeah.
How many landowners are out there that have no idea that there's somebody even on their property hunting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you're not walking your property, you're not going to know.
No,
And
no
nobody's.
clue.
I mean,
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That
So-
is so
so
cool.
wild.
But you had said earlier about, after you shoot a deer, getting excited and falling out.
Mhm.
Takes me back to the story that
Oh, no.
I was going to
Oh,
tell
yeah.
earlier.
Yeah, we did have a story. We cut
that,
you
We'll
off.
bring that full circle. So Luke let me hunt on his property, and took management bucks home. Oh, no problem, Luke.
Uh-huh.
He had nice little food.
Uh-huh.
He had nice little food plot planted, and it's down over the hill from a soccer field.
Okay.
And the reason why I thought this story earlier is because we were talking about outside noise while you're hunting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm watching these two buck, and they're coming in, and I can tell the one's big, and I'm just like, that's a huge buck.
It's a huge management buck.
I'm like, that's a huge buck. And I'm like, oh man, he's coming into the food plot. He came in, and then I started hearing kids screaming. I'm like, oh no. And these deer are so used to these kids up there playing on this soccer field. They had a full soccer game going. I could hear clapping and everything else. I'm like, this is going to ruin it. Please don't ruin it. Please don't ruin it. He just kept coming, and I shot him. I was like, oh, thank God. And he spun around, and then I just lost my composure. I just started shaking. I'm like, I got to get down. So I start lowering my bow down, and I cracked it off the tree, and I broke the slide on the cable. I'm like, oh man. Well, I did get out of the tree safely, but I did damage my bow going down there. I thought to myself, what's the difference? I'm done. I'm done for the year.
And believe it or not, I never saw that buck on a trail cam. The
Really?
first time we ever saw that buck was when he shot it.
What time of year was it?
September.
Yeah, that's pretty
Really early.
It was early. It was,
Yeah.
it was like September 20,
Yeah,
Ooh.
20th.
Yeah, a couple
like
weeks
that.
right into the beginning of the
Oh
season.
yeah, he is
Yeah.
real early in the season.
Yeah.
Maybe he
I
just
wonder-
had a better summering zone. And
I was
going
going
to
to say he might
Yeah.
have just been transitioning out of
Yeah.
another area into
Yeah.
your area.
You thought you might have saw him that year because
Yeah.
earlier that year because you saw that big 8,
Yeah.
and then you're like, I saw another deer that just had a ton of points on it, but that 8 was nicer.
And you want to tell the listeners
No,
his name?
The buck's name?
The one you
Oh,
shot.
Hank.
Yeah, he calls him Hank.
Hank.
Hey.
my man.
Yeah, he's
my
100,
dog's name.
150-inch 12-point.
Yeah.
Dude, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great
I
buck
mean,
anywhere.
For him, it's good.
Yeah.
Shot on my property.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Do you ever get to hunt his properties?
I don't have properties.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, wink, wink, wink.
You taking any more hunters on your property?
Actually, now it just got sold, so there's homes going on it.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
you talk about,
See?
Yeah.
destroying the forest.
mentioned
Yeah.
Actually, that property went downhill because there was never any logging or anything done with it, and the regrowth and the deer over browsing it. It just
Mm.
Yeah, it went
kind of
downhill.
lost its
Makes
luster.
sense.
Mhm.
Do you two ever get to hunt anymore?
I was just going to bring that up. A lot of people, they say, you have this program going, you got to have the best spots. Believe it or not, me and Mike do not have a spot in the program. It just wouldn't be fair.
I like it.
Yeah, it just wouldn't be.
It just eliminates any questioning about
Yes.
it.
Yep.
It's so much easier that way. And we don't have the time to dedicate to it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're busy running this. Or
You're strictly in
with family.
management mode.
Yeah.
With it,
That's
yeah.
it. We do hunt. It's up north, or we go out west. This year we're going to go up to Michigan, up to the UP to do some grouse hunt and stuff like that. So, and then the other question we get is, you got to be, is this your full-time job? we make no money doing this.
Yeah.
We make no money. It's sometimes I wonder why we even do it. And I mean, deep down inside, I know why we do it. But no, it's just for the love of it. That's all.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
People, I don't think people really know what go into it. I mean, between meeting with property owners and going to township meetings and doing paperwork and
emails and
phone calls, it just goes on.
You have to be into it to do it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean, truthfully, I probably get out to archery hunt 4 or 5 times this season.
Yeah, maybe.
Man.
Yeah.
And it's tough. Like I want to be out there more, but I between family and work and I get
it.
Yeah. When I get to go, I take my kid. I'd rather sit in a tree and watch them shoot deers and shoot at pheasants and whatnot. So
I'm about there now too, Luke. Yeah. Probably another year or two. My son's gonna be out there.
I'm still
I'll
waiting.
be giving my time up to him.
Yeah,
it's fun. I mean, to watch them do it, I get more joy out of that nowadays than anything else. So
definitely,
I've shot deer and stuff. So
yeah, I don't blame you.
I like it. You still have passion though. Like you guys are going out grouse hunting and stuff like that.
Yeah, like we love hunting. We love all different kinds of hunting. And we'd like to go out west. We went to Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we just try and get all over the place to do different things. Because no offense to you guys, but sometimes you get burnt out on whitetail hunting.
Listen, this might be called the Whitetail Distraction Podcast. We kind of pigeonholed ourselves when we did that, but dude, we love doing everything. Like we're in a fishing tournament right now. It's a long tournament. Yeah. Turkey season just ended. We were hunting turkeys, went out of state, did all kinds of stuff.
I think I hunted 5 or 6 states this year for turkey.
Didn't you finish your slam?
I did, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
me and Luke are at the infancy state of ours.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, dude,
good for you.
It is great. It is so great.
Where'd you go for your golds?
I didn't do gold. Gold's not part of the actual slam.
Okay.
So golds is part of a whole different thing because technically they're a Mexico bird, right? Mm-hmm. So they're not part of the U.S. The slam is the Rio, the Eastern, the Osceola, and the Merriam's for the slam. Yeah. So will I ever do a golds? Probably.
Yeah.
I know that a buddy of ours, Joey Bell, just got done with Jay Scott.
Oh, that's who I went down to Mexico with, dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jay's a good guy.
We had him on the podcast.
Him and Dar are...
Yeah,
they're awesome.
Yeah, Dar's
top-notch outfit out there. Those guys,
it's unreal.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yep. They killed a whole bunch of
You went down there
golds.
for coos. That's so cool, man.
I'm going to go back down there for turkey, too.
Yeah, I would, too.
Yeah.
Why not?
Heck yeah, dude. The only thing, the negative, and I don't want to put this on you because it's a once in a million time, but the only thing that sucks is they shipped all their birds back. They had like 6 birds in their group. And only like 2 or 3 made it back. So somewhere in there, TSA had customs
will,
there.
Yeah, they'll confiscate birds.
Yeah.
And so when we were coming back across the border, you have to pull out your cape. And if they find more than 1 tick on the cape, it's gone.
So you're down there with a tick brush.
No. We paid the ranch hands to do that.
There you go.
And they would
spray it all with permethrin. And
dude, what they do is they take a bag, a trash bag, and they throw the hide in there, and they'd fill it with brake cleaner. I think. That the fumes from that would kill ticks, and then they would go back through and they'd pick them.
Yeah.
No way.
I paid the guy like $40. I felt bad. It's miserable.
Just made his year, dude.
Oh, dude, he was. And they are so grateful down there when you do stuff that. You know what I mean? Like they make a lot of their money off of that.
For sure.
Definitely. A different type of tourist, but we're still tourists down there.
Tourism's huge down there, man. I've been down there a million times. I love Mexico.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
That is wild. That is.
So what happened to the birds coming back? They don't know?
They don't know. They never got an answer from the airlines. They never got an answer from TSA. Nobody gave them an answer at all. And the weird part was that the guys' birds that they actually got, they were on top in this cooler. And there was like 2 on top and then 3 below, I think, or something like that. And the ones in the bottom were just completely missing, but the 2 that are on top were still in there. So they would have taken them out
and put them back in.
And then put them back in and didn't put them all back into the cooler.
You think those birds are sitting in a corner rotting somewhere in customs? Probably smelling the hide.
Could you even
frying them up on their lunch break.
They're like,
that is a tough pill to swallow. You know what I mean? Because you can't get that back. And
the expense of it.
Yeah.
The only good to come out of it was the airline was able to file a claim and give them the maximum amount of their claim, which didn't even cover probably even half of the cost of the trip.
I wonder if travel insurance would cover that, like AIG.
Interesting question.
That would be great.
You know what I mean? Because I
thing to
get
look
that.
into.
Like when we went up to Alaska, I got AIG just because it's
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Lost bags, lost guns,
Yeah.
something like that. I want to be covered. So
I would imagine that would have to go into it. It's your
Yeah.
luggage.
right,
regardless of what it
Well,
is. I
what's
mean,
inside the luggage? Doesn't
What's
really
worth
matter.
that to you? Well, here's the price of my trip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
You
because
know.
that's the only way you're going to get that back is to go back there and do it again.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're not
Yeah.
going to Alaska for cheap either.
No.
That's
We-
always an
No.
expensive trip.
So
Yeah.
what we figured out about Alaska is you can do it for cheaper than what you think.
Okay.
Like outside of airfare, like
Yeah.
we did a DIY moose hunt.
Sounds awesome.
And we paid a charter service drop us off. But he presented himself like a guide, but he really wasn't a guide. He
was an air taxi.
he was an air taxi.
Mhm.
And you can find air taxis out of Anchorage for, they by the hour they charge you, and you can get out into there, and outside of tags, that's your only other cost is getting out there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you could do a DIY moose hunt.
$5,000.
Couple $1,000.
Yeah.
That's
No
pretty
way.
reasonable.
Yeah.
it's
Well, we went up during COVID, at the end of COVID. So we bought our flights during COVID after
Okay,
everything
so
had
yeah.
crashed.
Save
So
a pile of money.
Yeah,
we
really
saved
cheap.
so much.
yeah.
What did we had? Round trip to Alaska for like
It was like $500-$600
a person?
my
Yeah,
God.
round trip.
Per
It was
person. Yeah.
insane.
It
I'm
was
like,
Wow.
this happened at the right time.
Yeah. I think I spent more going to Florida this year for my 2
Yeah.
Osceolas.
Yeah. Who'd you go
Jeez.
down there?
So I actually went with a big group from another podcast,
Okay.
the Chasing Tells podcast that we're buddies with. Went down and we hunted public land down there.
What's the tag process like for that?
It's all over the counter.
It's all over the counter.
Mhm.
It's not good. It's not a limited hunt.
No,
No,
No.
that's cool.
there's areas in
WMAs.
Florida, like WMAs, that
Okay.
require certain permits.
Uh huh.
But
Yeah.
that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
other than that, everything was just go on and buy your license, and you got 2 turkey tags ready to go.
2.
2.
We went
Yep.
down there and we paid an outfitter, God's Country. Great outfit.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know 'em.
Yeah, they were awesome.
They were awesome.
I mean,
I've
top-
heard good things.
Yeah.
Top notch.
Yeah, we each got 1 bird. Now I feel like we
Mm.
should have went down there and done a DIY and shot
Yeah.
2 birds.
Yeah, because I mean, for your license, you get 2 turkeys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they do it just to control their population.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they have to support how many hunters coming
Yeah.
through there
Yeah.
doing that. But
Yeah.
then we both did a hog hunt while we
Yeah.
were down there.
Cool.
Mike shot a gator.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Then
No
Luke
way.
talked me into shooting a gator. I'm like, geez, oh man.
Now, God's Country's big for gator hunting.
Oh, yeah.
They're huge,
Yeah.
like huge gators.
Yeah.
Th- th-
It's different.
Yeah,
it's
th-
crazy.
they got a neat way of how they do it. But they lease a magnesium mine?
I don't know what kind of it was an old mine.
Some type of strip mine. But I'm going to call it a lake. I mean, it's a few thousand acres. It's
big.
Oh, it's ginormous.
Yeah.
And just picking up on little hints of what these guys do, they're also nuisance trappers for alligators down there.
Okay.
So what they'll do is they'll trap these alligators,
Put them on their property.
put them on their property.
Nice.
But I mean, on 1,000 acres, I mean, they got it's
They got
hard-
some big gators
Yeah.
on there
Yeah,
too.
but-
Yeah.
It's probably a big limestone mine. I would
A
imagine.
Yeah, I think
limestone
that's
or
what-
something.
yeah.
It's like
yeah.
most
And
of
it's all
Florida's
filled in.
limestone.
And it's like, yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
all theirs, so like they got free range. to
But
the
I
whole
mean, they
place.
don't own the land. They have the
Yeah.
rights to the tags.
Yeah.
So they have to buy the tags off the landowner,
Mhm.
and then them and another gentleman, they run the gator hunts out of there. But then they also have the fall hunts, which you have to do with it.
The fall hunts. Yeah, you have to go.
Those were different.
Yeah, you got to go through some permitting for that.
Yeah. But they're landowner tags for the private gators that we did. It was cool.
Yeah.
You know what I
It
mean?
sounds cool.
It's
Yeah,
kind of
it was
like
fun.
on Swamp People where you cast out for them, so you get like these big treble hooks.
Yeah.
And you'll see their bubbles and stuff, and you'll see them up, and then you go over them, and they have side scanning sonar, and it's a gator down there, you kind of see on there, and they cast out over top of them, then you set that treble hook into them, and then you reel them in, and then you get another hook into them in case that one slips out. So me and Luke are both cranking on these rods. It feels like you're pulling up a marlin.
Yeah,
It was
wild.
40 foot down there. I'm like, I didn't think
Yeah,
it went
yeah.
that deep. They're like, yeah, he's down there on the bottom, walking across the bottom. He's just peeling line off. I'm like, jeez, oh man.
And then you have to boomstick them, right?
Yeah, well, then he comes up, and then you got to harpoon him.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh.
so you just throw a harpoon him that's connected to a giant buoy and a rope.
that treble hook could come out, so they want to harpoon them, so you got them.
Yeah, and once you
man.
got the float on them,
Yeah.
then they hand line them in off that buoy, and then they get them next to the boat, and then you
You got Luke
boomstick
over
'em.
here yelling,
Yeah.
shoot him, shoot him.
Shoot him, Mikey, shoot him.
Actually, we didn't use a boomstick. A boomstick you have to use in their fall hunts, and that's dictated by the state.
Yeah.
It was a 22 mag.
Yeah.
Oh, rusted up old 22 mag, dude. He's like, stay right at
That is so
It was like Swamp People.
Yeah,
Damn.
it was. Yeah,
Pull him in.
It was fun.
That's awesome.
He went a little over 11 foot.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a huge gator,
Great
man.
gator.
Oh, no. Huge was the one they shot right before we got there. It was the guy that we met down there.
13.
He shot 13.4 or something.
Wow.
Like that.
Good gravy.
Yeah.
Dude,
it was
they
giant.
That's
pulled
a
up on,
dinosaur.
yeah, they pulled up on the lift, and he was on top. This guy, he wasn't the tallest guy in the world, but he was on top of an 8-foot ladder, and that gator was way above him still.
Wow.
And the girth, like once they hit a certain size, they start getting girthy, and this thing was huge.
Yeah, it was
Ancient.
massive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it was a good time down there. But
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, top notch outfitter. Can't say nothing bad about it. The food was awesome.
Yeah.
yeah,
The
nice
owners
people.
are, they were
They're
awesome.
funny too.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
they're-
good.
You know what we got to use down there? Thermals, the thermal scopes.
That's legit.
Yeah.
yeah,
For
they,
pigs?
we didn't shoot our pigs with the thermals,
Okay.
but somebody was going out, and I said, "Hey, can I shoot that rifle real fast with that? I want
Yeah.
to see what that's like." And those thermals, you shoot, and then you can see where your bullet hit on the
Yeah,
target.
that heat
in the middle of the
signature.
target. It is crazy.
That's so wild.
And I would love to use one up here, but where are you going to use it?
Nah.
Coyotes.
Yeah, but
shit.
there's nothing open enough here to, really justify it.
You gotta come up here.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
We got it
I
up
might
there, man.
actually be taking one out here in a couple weeks. I guess one of my buddy's friends just recently got one.
I got
so
a buddy has a whole setup with thermal and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just bananas.
Try to go after some coyotes.
Yeah.
I'm not that into coyote hunting.
Me neither. I just want to go out.
We do a lot. We do a lot in up north there. We get quite a bit of bobcats.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
cool.
yeah?
We're
Yeah.
cat specialists, we found out.
Yeah,
All right. All right.
yeah. We shot 3
3 in 3 years.
in 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we
That's
had
pretty good.
2 years before that we missed each. I
Yeah.
missed one.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Yeah. That's
Well,
it.
Crooked barrel
We're not
over
even
here.
allowed to. We're not allowed to kill them here in 1A, right? I don't
You
think
have
you're
to,
allowed
you have to get the
You have to get the permit.
Permit, yeah.
Yeah, you have to get a
Uh,
permit for them.
Still think 1A you're not
Maybe not.
allowed.
Well, up north you definitely can.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
certain units. If you look in the books, it'll tell you
Yeah.
which units you can. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because we just recently had one show up on our property.
We don't have a lot of bobcats around here.
We
though.
don't. I mean, it's
No.
the first one I've ever seen in my entire
Yeah.
life.
They're
We-
becoming more prevalent.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have a bobcat, a fox, and now we've always had coyotes. I mean, tons of coyotes,
Yeah.
but they all three showed up this year after they cut our property. It's just been like wildlife, ridiculous wildlife.
It's been
They cut your
all
property
good.
so it's real thick right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what those bobcats.
Crazy. And the
Yeah.
bobcats started showing
Yeah.
up.
And that's
We had a bear
That's
there
why.
at one point, yeah,
Yeah.
but he kind of wandered off. He's gone now.
Yeah.
Very transient.
Hmm. But it's neat. It's neat to tell the difference. But that's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
The other thing we get a lot of like back, down Allegheny, these homeowners are like, we have coyotes here? Well, yeah.
There's coyotes in New York City.
There's
Oh,
coyotes
yeah.
everywhere, man. Those
They're
things
everywhere.
are
everywhere.
they're so adaptable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That people don't even know they're there either.
No.
Not until
you
they get
know?
a hold of their cat or their little
Mhm.
Yeah,
you
that
know,
happens.
Shih Tzu or something.
Dude, I heard the other day, might have been Joe Rogan. I don't know. You know, most people who lose cats to blame it on coyotes is actually owls.
Owls. Yeah, I heard that same thing.
Yeah.
so crazy.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
great horns don't mess around. First off, they're
The guy that said
giant.
it, he said they were tracking these owls and stuff like that, and they found this one tree. There was like 40 or 50 cat collars underneath it. Like,
Cleaning up.
It's
Yeah.
terrible.
Well, I think owls account for a good loss of turkeys too.
They do.
Oh, yeah.
They smack them right off the roost.
Right off the
Yeah.
roost.
They
yeah.
cheat, man. That's just cheating.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to do. Don't they read the regs?
First they hoot, then they sound off. They're like, I know where he's at.
Yeah, that's not even fair.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
funny.
Well, I mean, I can't tell you how many times we've called in, owls while predator hunting.
Oh yeah,
All the
Yeah.
time. They're always coming.
owls and hawks, man. I've
Yeah.
I've almost got attacked by a hawk on like 3 different occasions predator hunting.
That's so crazy.
I've even had them come at me when I was crow hunting. We were out crow hunting. We had all the deeks out in front of us, crow decoys,
Yeah.
and we're sitting tucked up against a tree line, and we're calling, and then it came from behind us and just swooped straight down, grabbed our decoy, one of our decoys, and flew off like 60 yards with it before it realized that it wasn't real, and then dropped it. I'm like, what the heck just happened?
You just like, what is this?
I never realized how aggressive hawks were. We had a couple because we have ducks and chickens out the back of my house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do I get rid of these hawks? I mean, they literally, like, say this is the top of the pen for the duck and they're outside. He would stand right on it,
Just
over
waiting.
top of them and just looking down at these. And the
Yeah.
ducks are twice his size.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm like,
Okay.
that's a little uneasy. How do you
Yeah.
get rid of them? I start researching. Yeah, get a plastic out. Okay. So I get a plastic owl and I put it up on a post out in my back porch patio area. And I'm sitting there working the one day, and it's right outside my window, and I'm watching, and I see the hawk across probably 50 yards away, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't working. This son of a bitch comes, swoops in full speed, comes up, bam, crushes, smacks that owl right off the post. I mean, just absolutely just dive bombs, takes him out, crushes him, and then flies over and sits back in the tree again.
He knew.
Yeah, I was like, well, that didn't work at all.
Smart,
Those
man.
birds, they're real smart. They know.
Smart.
Like, I've even heard people say, yeah, get the owl. And you get the owl. And it works for like a day or two. But once they figure out that it's not moving and it's not real, they don't care.
Yeah.
I could have sworn you were going to say he went and just landed on top of it.
Dude, I would
Just sat
have
on
been cool. I just wish I would have recorded it because it literally happened like 3 feet out my window.
That's
I
so
watched it
cool.
all go down. It was so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, even my aunt, she has the owl that has the moving head and everything.
It's still.
Doesn't matter. Because a hawk got one of her chickens.
Oh.
She had it all on film. I got to watch that. One of the blink cameras caught it.
Oh,
boy.
man.
Yep.
It's gnarly.
I started raising
Nature.
pigeons for my dog, for training the dog.
Yeah.
And I've yet to let them, the pigeons loose yet. Just, I can't do it yet.
Well, you're breeding them right now.
I'm breeding
He's
them.
he's
Yeah.
building up his stockpile of
Yeah.
birds. So
Okay.
when the hawks start to crush them, that he's got some.
He's got a stockpile.
Yeah, then I can put them all back in the pen and start over.
Yeah. Those
Yeah.
pigeons aren't cheap.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
I'm surprised you don't do like quail or something like that because their gestation period and stuff really short.
I started with chuckers.
Yeah.
The problem with using chuckers or pheasants or even quail, they don't come back.
That's true. That is true.
So when your chucker goes off, well, there goes $10.
One and done.
Yeah, and it's like I got to do something else here. It gets expensive real quick. So that's why I turned to pigeons.
Well,
Smart.
also your dog got in the coop and
Yeah,
Kill all the chuckers.
it got a hold of a couple.
Yeah.
And I looked like an idiot up on top of the garage roof trying to catch them with a fishing net. My neighbors were looking at me like, this guy's
So awesome.
Yeah, this guy's an idiot.
So you're on TikTok now.
Yeah, I probably am. Yeah, probably am.
It's awesome.
That is great. Well, guys, we've taken up a lot of your time tonight.
no, it's a good time.
Can't thank you guys enough for driving all the way up here and hanging out with us tonight and sharing what you got going on because that is freaking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you. And let's put a gold hunt together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
snap.
Don't you
Well,
tempt
we'll
me
head
with a
down to
good
Mexico.
time.
We'll do a podcast down in Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay.
Threaten me with a good time.
Done and done.
Yeah, I reached out to Jay a couple months ago. He said, if you want to come down, start thinking about it, 2024,
Okay.
so.
Very cool.
Yeah, because I think you have to put down half a down payment. You can do that, I think, like a year or two in advance or something along those lines.
Yeah.
A year in advance. And
Yeah.
then
Let's do it.
It's wild.
Good time.
sounds like fun.
Cool. Well, thank you very much.
Before we let you guys go,
Mhm.
throw out there your social media for, Suburban Whitetails.
No,
The email again for people
That's
if
you.
they want to hop on and make an application or whatnot.
Whatever you're most active on. If
Just to clarify, I don't run the Instagram account. That's Luke.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was going to make a
Alright.
funny earlier about how busy they are. That's why they didn't get back to our Instagram message for a year, but I missed my
I didn't even
opportunity
know we had
window.
one. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. I don't know what happened there.
It's okay.
But no, it's all good. Yeah. Please join us on Instagram, Suburban Whitetail PA. Love to see a couple more,
Check them out.
followers. It's awesome. You can see all the stuff people are shooting.
Yeah.
And then, if you want to reach us by email, what is it?
Suburban Whitetail
PA
at gmail.com.
at
Yeah.
gmail.com.
I
Beautiful.
thought
I'll
you
put all
said
the
it.
links in the description and stuff.
That'd
Yeah,
be
we'll,
awesome.
we'll give you all the information too.
Isn't it funny how your email address can sometimes be like your telephone number? You just don't really,
I'm with you, man.
especially when it's your second email address.
I got too many of them, so
Yeah.
just that was my spam.
Yeah,
Very
have them
cool.
reach out to us. With hunters interested, we can, be happy to sign them up. Especially if they're from the township, we love to get guys on the properties that are from those townships. That way, we know they're getting the most.
Awesome.
So
Excellent.
reach out to us.
Very
Well, thanks again, guys. Definitely go check them out. It is a wonderful program. I'm glad we did this because now you've answered all my questions, and I hope everyone else has a much better understanding of what you guys do, and could be right in their backyard.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.